in terms of capital-intensive businesses, they're just not as good if you can find an equally good business. I mean, in terms of operations that doesn't require capital. I mean, the Seas never required capital. It didn't grow, but it just doesn't. It didn't take money to expand it, and it delivered enormous sums to us. And because we own it within Berkshire, to redeploy it elsewhere didn't require a lot of tax expense, either at the corporate level or at the personal level. So you really want a business, and everybody wants a business, that doesn't take any capital to speak of and keeps growing and doesn't take more capital as it grows. Now, our utility business, the energy business, requires more capital as it grows. Our railroad business, to some extent, requires more capital if it doesn't grow even. So capital-intensive businesses, by their nature, are not as good as something where people pay in advance and you don't need the capital. I mean, if you look at where the top market value is in a $30 trillion market, if you take the top 4 or 5 companies that account for maybe 4 trillion or so of that 30 trillion. Basically, they don't take much capital, and that's why they're worth a lot of money, because they make a lot of money and they don't require the money to any great extent in the business. We own some businesses like that, but it's certainly not the railroad, and it's not the energy business. They're good businesses. We love them, but if they didn't take any capital, they'd be unbelievable. They're good, but that's just what we've learned from 50 or 60 years of operating businesses, that if you can find a great business that doesn't require capital when it grows, you've really got something. And to a certain extent, because insurance uses the kind of assets we would like to own anyway, our insurance business doesn't really take capital. It requires having capital available, but we're able to invest that money largely in things we'd like to own anyway. So we're particularly well suited for the insurance business, and it's really been the most important factor in our growth over the years, although a lot of other things contribute. Greg, you were in the capital-intensive business a long time. Tell us about it.
Well, I think there's no question, obviously, we'd prefer to be in a less capital-intensive business. But there are unique opportunities there. And the one I would touch on when I think of inflation, or even potentially as we go through this crisis and maybe a prolonged one, or depending on how long it takes to recover. I mean, we are in a unique, when we're looking at energy or rail, we do have a certain amount of pricing power. And it's through our regulatory formulas or how our arrangements are with our customers. So if we then were to move into an inflationary period, it's not perfect protection, but those businesses generally can recover a significant portion of their costs, even in an inflationary environment, and still earn a reasonable return. They're not going to be great returns, as you highlighted, Warren, but they're still going to earn a reasonable return on their capital, even in an inflationary period. There may be some lag and some things like that, but they're still going to be very sound investments. So,
if there was 10-for-1 inflation, make it extreme. We'd be happy we own the railroad, very happy. Well, we'd be investing a lot of capital in it, but that business is, in my view, is a very, very solid business for many, 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 many decades to come. I said originally we bought it with a 100-year time horizon, and I've extended that. So it will earn more dollars if there's a lot of inflation. In real terms, who knows? But it would earn a lot more dollars, and a lot of the energy projects would. But it's better if we don't have inflation, and it's better if we don't have capital. if we can find the same sort of businesses that aren't as capital intensive. We've got capital. I mean, we're ideally positioned for capital intensive businesses that other people have trouble raising capital for, but they've still got to promise decent returns.